All right, me. It is a Tuesday in early April. I know that much. I don't know the exact date. But today, right before my interview, so this is being filmed after my interview, I finished reading E.B. White's Charlotte's Web. Lots of children's books. What's Charlotte's Web about? Of a fantastic question. And really, I think Charlotte's Web is about equity, right? It is the story of a being that is the smallest or least likely to succeed, and therefore is immediately going to be killed until that they are given the support needed by the governing forces of the world to save it, to nurse it, and then through continuous additional support by the people around them, allowed to continue existing, and not only allowed to continue existing, but allowed to become this incredibly important character and person within the lives of others, right? Which is just equity, right? Of needing to give support to the people around us, right? And to what they need support to, right? So that's the first thing. It's about equity. Then the vast majority of the book happens, and is what it is. And then really it's what I think is actually the big lesson that you're supposed to take away, but it's also the ending of the book, is concepts of the life cycle, right? Very famously, I guess, spoiler alert if you don't remember Charlotte's Web or haven't read Charlotte's Web, Charlotte dies at the very end. And it's always a question of when you kill off a character, especially in something that's intended for children, it's always the question of making sure of why are you doing this? Why is this important? And really it's to show this overall concept of the life cycle, right? And that you as a person, right, if you are Wilbur, are going to have so many people in your life that support you and help you grow and protect you in so many ways. But eventually, very often, at some point, those people are going to die, and those people are going to pass away. And what I find really interesting is that Charlotte doesn't really sugarcoat it at all. She just says, I'm going to die soon. And so, the concept of getting comfortable with that, right? Of that the people that you love and the people that have protected you always and the people that you have grown comfortable with will die or will no longer be in your life in some way. And you have to find a way to deal with that and live with that. Which is that's a really important thing, right? That's a really, really important thing for children to truly understand. You get this wonderful happy ending of Wilbur takes the egg sac that Charlotte has laid, and has kept it and protected it. And some of the spiders that have hatched have stayed in the barn with Wilbur, and then then their children, some of them also stay in the barn, and it's wonderful, wonderful continuous cycle that we all have. So yeah, very, very, I mean, it's uplifting in a lot of ways. It's very, very nice in a lot of ways. It's very, very enjoyable in a lot of ways. You get Templeton, shout out Templeton the rat. Still giving rats a bad name, but it is the joys of having a character that is supposedly so so selfish and so greedy, do good things every once in a while, and do them without being asked, right? In funny ways, sure, but do them without being asked. You get this weird thing with Fern, who is kind of like our through line of the young girl that we follow, which is like, she kind of gets portrayed as like, this is the protagonist that we're going to follow throughout, and then it turns out that we're actually following Wilbur throughout. But there becomes this whole through line of where like Fern's like 7, 8 years old, and then like becomes incredibly smitten with a boy, and like, I don't know, it feels very much as like a fall in love young kind of deal, right? This is written in the 1950s. This is 1952, I think it is. And so like, it does its best to establish a lot of, I would say like indirectly establish a lot of these kind of conservative values in some ways, right? Of you have Fern's mom, who wants nothing to do with anything, wants nothing to do with the pig, wants nothing to do with the farm, until the pig becomes famous, and then suddenly she wants everything to do with it because it's going to make her look good, including the prize at the end, which is this whole mess. You have Fern's dad, who is just this kind of bumbling guy. You have Fern's brother Avery, who is just the most raucous young boy in the world. What a child he is. And is very much focused on shooting everything, killing everything, doing whatever he wants. Very, very strange character, but sure, go off, E.B. White. Yeah. And so like, there's a little bit of that there. I don't know. It is very fun in a lot of ways. It's a very, very quick read. I should have read it quicker. I just didn't actually read most of it in one sitting. I just kept reading like a chapter at a time and then leaving it. But I think, right, the reason I feel like I could do that with this book versus all of those Wizard of Oz pieces, even though they're both intended for children, really roughly of the same age in a lot of ways, is this idea, or that because it is such a standalone story, this made it so much easier just to follow what was happening, even though nothing was happening, right? Versus all those Wizard of Oz pieces, of where, because there's such, they're so connected, but they're so not. And that there is nothing going on, but nothing in a way that is not interesting, that like it becomes a slog for those books, versus this book, which is fine, right? And so, it is what it is. There's one more thing that popped up in my head that I thought about, and I'm not gonna remember what it was. I'm not gonna remember what it was. That's a shame. Anyways, that's Charlotte's Web.